Hi dear fans, friends and subscribers. Welcome to this Cricket Happening show with your host Ram today. And well, as far as this cricket show is concerned, Zimbabwe, as I said yesterday, were doing some fine work with the ball, and it was very essential that the batting order also really did the same that the Zimbabwean bowlers did. But unfortunately, I will have to say that that was not the case, and that was what enabled South Africa to wrap up the match very quickly. In fact, South Africa won the solitary test against Zimbabwe at Harare Sports Club today by a very easy victory for them in the end by 9 wickets. In fact, Zimbabwe were all out for 181 today, and South Africa needed to score a balance of 40 odd runs, which they completed for just 1 wicket. And as far as the South African success was concerned in this particular first test match, today it was the right arm off spinner Dan Peat who actually went on to take another 4-wicket bag. It was his test debut. As you know, the first innings he took 4 wickets. Now in the second innings too, he took 4 wickets. Yes, definitely there was a lot of turn available, there was a lot of bounce available, and that was what Dan Peat really took advantage of. And Dan Peat, not only did he take 8 wickets on his test debut, but also became the first South African spinner on debut to have taken 8 wickets in a test match. And so that was a brilliant performance, I thought, from Dan Peat. So Dan Peat, well, preferred in place of Imran Tahir, the experienced right arm leg spinner, has definitely come up trumps here. Now, dear fans and subscribers, so that is as far as this particular match is concerned. So now we will go into those details and see what really happened. Well, Zimbabwe started off that overnight score yesterday with Hamilton Masakadza and the in fact, Hamilton Masakadza, as you know, was out early yesterday, but Vusi Sibanda was there along with Donald Tripano, and they were doing a fine job. In fact, they were carrying on well. They were doing very well in the morning session, really sticking it out there and doing all the right things. Vusi Sibanda were showing tremendous patience in not really attempting any false stroke, and at the other end, Donald Tripano, on his international debut, as you know, he has already proven himself. With the ball, he has done well. With the bat, he really blocked them. Even though he scored only few runs in the first innings, he did a wonderful job. And that was precisely what Tripano did. Tripano once again continued to block the South African bowlers, and which he did it to a nicety, I thought. And finally, Donald Tripano, I think, a bit of I think, losing patience, probably trying to slot sweep Dan Peat, the right arm off spinner, across the line, and he saw that his stumps were shattered with the delivery. So he was gone. So that was the first wicket to go, in fact, for Zimbabwe, as Donald Tripano, the debutant, was gone, bowled by Peat for 5, and in walked in Vermeulen. Mark Vermeulen started giving solid company to Vusi Sibanda, and both of them really took Zimbabwe to lunch at a very good score, in the sense at a very comfortable 82 for 2, I thought, at lunchtime. Sibanda was still there, but Sibanda, whenever he got an opportunity to play a stroke, Vusi Sibanda times the ball very well, and also is an aggressive player at that. Mark Vermeulen at the other end continued to block his way, and finally, when it looked like Zimbabwe, as I said, till lunch they had done a good job. After lunch, when the score had reached 98, that was the time the Zimbabwe innings completely came apart, with Dale Steyn rattling the stumps of Mark Vermeulen for 21 with 2 boundaries, which made it 98 for 3. And after that, Vusi Sibanda, who had shown immense patience before lunch, finally was dragged out of the crease by Dan Peat's flighted delivery, and he actually drove into the hands of Dan Peat, the bowler, and Subhanda was gone for the highest score of this innings, 45 with 6 fours and 1 6, which made the score 98 for 4. In walked in Brendan Taylor, so there were two new batsmen at the crease at the time, the Zimbabwean captain Brendan Taylor and Regis Chakabwa. But there was not much to be done, as Brendan Taylor was the next to go, caught by Elgar it was a good catch taken by Elgar of the bowling of Pete for 5. Some very good bowling by Elgar, and then Mone Morkel started getting in amongst the wickets. First he clean bowled Chakabwa for 15 with 2 boundaries. Then he claimed the wicket of Sean Williams. In fact, Sean Williams he was caught by doing his bowling Morkel for 3. And then there was a resistance. So once Sean Williams was gone, the score was 124 for 7, and it looked like probably Zimbabwe would not even reach the 141 runs was the lead that South Africa took in the first innings. One probably thought that Zimbabwe wouldn't reach that target. But let me tell you, the Richmond Mutumbami definitely, I think, is proving more and more impressive as the tests go by, because what I have seen is that his consistency is really improving, as Richmond Mutumbami played a very nice knock. In fact, he was along with John Nimbu, and John Nimbu, another debutant, as you know, the other day with Donald Tripano, the other debutant, really blocked the South African pace bowlers. And today, once again, John Nimbu started doing the same and giving good support to Richmond Mutumbami. So Richmond Mutumbami, along with John Nimbu, continued to add runs. And not only that, what they did is they went past the 141 run mark to actually get some runs in surplus of 141. This partnership yielded a very good 54 runs partnership with Richmond Mutumbami playing some good strokes. At the same time, Richmond Mutumbami was not afraid to play his strokes, and his defense was also pretty impregnable at that stage. But after that, Dale Steyn was the one who broke that stubborn stand between Richmond Mutumbami, the wicketkeeper batsman, and John Nimbu, as Mutumbami was gone. Caught de Kock bowled Steyn for 43 with 6 fours, and that the score read 178 for 8 when Mutumbami was caught by de Kock. After that, it was pretty quick work. John Nimbu was caught and bowled by the Ram off spinner for 13, Dan Pete, with 1 6 that he hit, John Nimbu. And Panyangra was cleaned up by Dale Steyn for 2. Chatara was not out on the knot, and that was over. Zimbabwe had ended up with a score of 181 all out, and that meant that South Africa needed to score just 40 runs to win the match. Just looking at the bowling figures, Dan Pete, as I said, returning a match analysis of 8 wickets in the match, became the first debutant from South Africa as an off-spinner, first debutant debutant spin bowler to have taken 4 wickets, 8 wickets in the match in his first match, that is on international test debut. 25 overs, 3 maidens, 62 runs and 4 wickets, bowled excellently, I thought. Definitely was assisted by some turn that was available on the pitch. Dale Steyn, 21.2 overs, 9 maidens, 3 for 38, he chipped in well. Mone Morkel, 15 overs, 9 maidens, 3 for 15, getting amongst the wickets for the first time as he went wicketless in the first innings. Philander was wicketless, 10 overs, 3 maidens, none for 25. Dumini, 2 overs, none for 12. And Elgar bowled 3 overs, which cost him 20 runs. Now, as far as South Africa in their second dig were concerned, chasing 40 runs to win the match, which was a mere formality. Alvaro Peterson and Dean Elgar started putting on runs pretty quickly, but Alvaro Peterson, after hitting 3 boundaries in his knock, in fact, Dean Elgar, after cracking 3 fours and 1 6 in his knock of 21, was cleaned up by Chatara. Tendai Chatara clean bowling him for 21, and that was the only wicket that Zimbabwe got. After that, it was all over. Alvaro Peterson was not out on 17 with 3 fours. Du Plessis brought up the winning hit with a boundary, not out on 5, and South Africa in the second innings for 44 for 1, which they got in 10.4 overs. John Nimbu, the right-arm off-spinner, was the one who started off with a new cherry, but today he couldn't get any wickets. 4 overs, none for 24 for him. Panyangra, 3 overs, 1 maiden, none for 5. Chatara, 2 overs, 1 maiden, 1 for 5. And Sean Williams, none for 9. So we didn't see Donald Trapano actually coming in and bowl, and the player of the match went to Dan Peat of South Africa. And what a moment for Dan Peat, the random off spinner, the Test debutant from South Africa, on his very first match, not only getting 8 wickets and also going on to take the man of the match award in this first Test match. Well, as I said, even though Zimbabwe lost this match, one has to say that the Zimbabwean bowling has been absolutely splendid. I mean, to just stop this South African batting lineup from scoring is something which is really commendable. I have been saying that all through this Test match, and once again I would say that the Zimbabwean bowling was absolutely good. But now, as you know, the Test matches have all ended. Now the focus will shift on to 3 one-day internationals between South Africa and Zimbabwe. One thing that we saw is that the batting is something which Zimbabwe needs to pay attention to, because batting is the one. In fact, the tailenders I thought did very well, like Donald Trapano and the Nimbu, and the debutants did very well. Both of them had good debuts. John Nimbu going up with a 5-wicket bag, so that it says that John Nimbu is definitely arrived. And John Nimbu, the off spinner, he played in this particular match due to an injury to an experienced off spinner, Prosper Utsaya. So if John Nimbu is bowling like this, then there's going to be some questions as far as Zimbabwe's selection is concerned now, because John Nimbu has taken 5 wickets on Test debut, that too against South Africa, which is very commendable. And also, if Prosper Utsaya comes back, his experience is something which would be great for Zimbabwean cricket. But the question would be, the pace bowlers have been doing their job pretty well, Chatara Panyangra and Donald Trapano, the debutant. So if that is going to be the case, the problem will be, how are they going to accommodate Prosper Utsaya into the team? So that is going to be the question, because John Nimbu has already showed that he can bat as well. So that is going to be, but I'm sure Prosper Utsaya is a much better bat than John Nimbu, and because Prosper Utsaya can score runs too. But so that is for the Zimbabwean think tank to really get into it and see what they really need to do about it. But all in all, Zimbabwe keep up the good work as the bowling is concerned. But as far as batting is concerned, they really need to get along. Probably they need to do what the Zimbabwean bowlers did. So that is something that they need to address. Other than that, I thought Zimbabwe will go with a lot of credit from this Test match, even though they lost to the South African mighty batting lineup. In the sense, they did a good job, but in the end, it was too much to handle. As you know, South African bowling really came to the fore and saw to it that they didn't allow Zimbabwe to settle down. It was a good victory for South Africa there then. And other than that, dear fans and subscribers, today I'm not going to talk about anything else. There's not much cricket news happening, but as usual, this Cricket Happening show is really running along very smoothly, thanks to you all. I don't have enough words to thank you, dear fans and subscribers of Cricket Happenings. That's it from me, your host Ram, for the cricket show for today, and see you all tomorrow. Thank you.